Welcome back to another episode of the Corporate Cowboys podcast. My name is Alex. Today is Proof of Life. It's Thursday, February 9, 2023. And if you didn't know yet, the Corporate Cowboys podcast is all about arming professionals with knowledge or something similar. Granted that you're already in corporate. We're in a corporate war. We're necessarily born into one. If you can hear me now, if you can hear my voice, it's being transmitted over a device of any kind that was manufactured, right? That has value, something with inputs, raw materials went into it and made it something consumeristic, made it something material under some kind of capitalist process. You're in a corporate war. Wake the fuck up. Alex. These episodes, this podcast, really, it's about professional development, right? It's for those individuals who are breaking into corporate and also breaking out, if you think about it, because what you want to do is move like a corporate cowboy, move with a sense of dignity, a sense of liberty, a sense of freedom. And that comes with realizing your potential, right? Realizing what you are actually worth, what you could be worth, and making moves towards making moves towards actualizing it. How about that, right? Now, today's 30-minute consult, these 30-minute consults are free, right? But they're very limited in scope. I say this every episode. This advice is not legal. It's not legal. Don't rely on it. If it fits your exact situation, and it won't, maybe in some broad sense, if I give some general advice, but it's not legal, it's not directed. It's not direct advice to you, at least. So your mileage will vary. It will vary unless you reach out to us directly and you have us work for you. And again, our rates are reasonable. You want to catch up with us? We're on Instagram. That's at Corporate Cowboys with the Z. On Patreon, the Corporate Cowboys podcast. You can shoot us some snail mail right to us. P.O. Box 3372, Rancho Cordova, California, 95741. R/career guidance gives us this question here. It says, the employer offered a change in responsibilities when I got an offer. What would you do in the same situation? Employer offered a change in responsibilities, but not a change in pay, or what? Why would an employer offer you a change in responsibilities when you get an offer? Are we talking about an offer from outside, like an outside offer, and now the employer is gonna make your job easier somehow? It's gonna take responsibilities away from you by making your job easier, or is gonna give you more responsibilities to like train you for a promotion? It says, what would you do in the same situation? There's questions to ask. Again, you've got to ask the right questions. How are your responsibilities going to change? And how is this change in responsibilities going to affect your professional development? So it starts here, and it's asking for advice. I started a new job about 6 months ago. The roles and responsibilities are maybe 10% what I was told. Okay. All right. So they're gonna change your responsibilities to what you negotiated. I don't know. They're gonna up that number to fucking 20% of what you were told. The rest of the job, it says here, the rest of the job I hate, and I specifically avoided applying to jobs with these responsibilities. All right, this person sounds miserable. I brought this up to my manager a couple of times, and so did other employees. I planned to wait out 1 year and leave. A buddy of mine let me know his department. A buddy of mine let me know his department is hiring for the position that I actually wanted. When I got the offer, my boss let me know he's open to changing my responsibilities to be more in line with what was discussed in my interview. What fuckery. Dude, if you interviewed for a position and the interview was about this position and the specific responsibilities, the qualifications needed for this position. So you're already going in with the mindset of having informed yourself by an interview of what your job will consist of, the duties that you will be responsible for. And you get there and it's not even 11% of what you negotiated, what you interviewed for. I mean, dog, I would be making moves. Why would you wait a year in that bullshit, in that environment? Why would you? I mean, all right, all right. This says, all right, I'm going to finish the body before I go off on a rant because it's what I feel like doing. But I want to be better informed before I go off on, a tirade of some kind, telling this person to look out for their own interest, right? Obviously, the manager is going to put you in a position that they want to, and typically, most all employment agreements have some provision in them that state they can change your responsibilities and change your duties within reason, right? So if they're shunting your professional development into the 10% of shit grunt work that nobody wants to do and not helping your professional development, what incentive do you have to stick around for even a year? All right. It says, and also your buddy says that their department is hiring. It's a different department in the same firm, in the same organization, or is it a department at his organization? It says like it's his department. Maybe it's a department in his organization, a different organization, or just a different department. Makes me wonder. It makes me wonder. That's all. So it says, my boss let me know he's open to changing my responsibilities to be more in line with what was discussed in my interview. How nice. How nice of your boss. He sounds fucking This was independent of my offer. I don't get that. I don't understand that. So this was independent. Are you saying that you got an offer from your buddy and just coincidentally your manager now wants to change up your responsibilities to be more in line with what you interviewed for? Or are you saying you got the offer and because of this offer, your manager now wants to change responsibilities, is open to negotiating this change of responsibilities to be more in line with what you interviewed for, right? Because that makes a difference. If your manager is just saying like, well, just out of the blue says, we could change the responsibilities that you do to be more in line with what you interviewed with, I'd be like, I might respond with, what the fuck took so long? I interviewed for a specific job. You're just jerking me around. This is highly unprofessional, right? Because you've got to put your professionalism first. You sign on to a job, you sign the dotted line, you sign up for the corporate war, you become a mercenary, a soldier, you have a job to carry out, and if it's not the job you signed up for, what the fuck are you doing there? So it says this was independent of my offer. Again, I just want to be clear on whether or not this person knows what that term independent implies, what the implication, what the significance of that term means, right? Because if it was dependent, then it would be that the offer to change the responsibilities was conditioned on the fact that they got an offer from outside. They don't want to lose them. And now they're thinking, well, if I change their responsibilities to be more in line with what they interviewed for, maybe they'll stick around. So it says, continuing, the total compensation is about the same, and total commute and flexibility is about the same. You see, now this makes me think it's an outside offer, right? It's not at the same firm because if we're talking commute, what? You have different departments strewn over different parts of town. It says, I'm having trouble deciding to stay or leave. The job security is about the same. What, you mean entry level forever? It's entry level forever, baby. Don't fucking forget it. Job security is an illusion. It says, I personally don't know if I can trust my boss, but I don't know the department at the other employer. Okay, so it is another employer. It's a totally different department or a department that does something similar, but at a totally different firm, at another company. Okay. I'm trying to decide if it's worth jumping, it says. I think I might jump. No, I I misread that. I added words where there weren't any. It says, I think if I jump, I'll stay at the new company for 5 years or more. I'm not very worried about a 6 month stint on my resume. Okay, so you're already made your mind. You've already literally made you're not worried about 6 months just showing up on your resume. I don't think you should even put down this 6 month stint on your resume. Tell them that you were sharpening your skills. Maybe in this one area that you fucking hate, right? If they pay you more. If that type of work is the type of grunt work, maybe not grunt work, is the type of meticulous, tedious work nobody wants to do, but it's highly sought after. Folks are killing to have somebody do it. Maybe you could charge more. Maybe the compensation doesn't have to be about the same. It could be more, right? You've got to analyze the situation in its entirety, right? These are questions that I would ask you as the client. And again, with every client, it depends. It's case by case. Now, because we don't know all these circumstances, again, I'm just giving this opinion based off of the face of this request, of this question, of this fact pattern, if you will. So it says, it includes a TLDR at the end. Too long, didn't read. I wanted a specific job. I applied and got the job. When I started the job, it was a completely different job. 6 months later, I get an offer for the job I wanted elsewhere. But my current employer said they're open to changing my responsibilities. What would you do? Dog, I would leave. I think this is open and shut. I'd fucking leave. Unless, because you've already secured an employment agreement in writing, and it looks like you aren't doing shit about it. You aren't moving to have it enforced. You aren't, I mean, it goes back to your employment agreement. You want to read your employment agreement, and if your employer, just at their discretion, could have you change up your job responsibilities, and if they don't have to reflect what you were hired for, congratulations, you are a grunt, and they can do whatever the fuck they want in terms of your job responsibilities. They could have you cleaning toilets, bathrooms tomorrow until you choose to leave, right? So unless you secure something in writing as far as your job responsibilities go, I wouldn't put too much faith on you sticking around or you sticking up for yourself. I mean that in the least offensive way possible. I still mean to offend, just the least offensive way possible. Think of me as as your free consultant, a counselor of sorts. I'm yours, but I'm free. You like that? You like that, huh? You don't want me to be free? Get a fucking contract. And I'm going to charge my worth. Same thing in your situation. Get that shit in writing and charge your worth. When you think about it, it's about as easy as you're going to get it. And that's putting it down on writing and having it signed. Otherwise, You could just expect to show up to work the next day doing something completely different than what you've been doing. That could become really arbitrary. If they could change it unilaterally like that without respecting you as a professional, shit, they'll just walk all over you. They shouldn't give a fuck in that case. It's in their best interest to keep you as a floater, just wherever it is they feel like having you from one day to the next. You protect yourself by remaining professional, taking care of business so that business takes care of you. Otherwise, what if you got a written agreement that's not being performed on, that's not being enforced? Now, I'm not going to walk you down how to enforce your own agreement. Not just yet, right? Because you don't have me on retainer and I'm not your legal counselor, and everything I'm saying right now, you shouldn't take as legal advice. You shouldn't base your career off of just what I'm telling you, because obviously I need more information to give you something better informed as far as action items and a strategy, some type of plan or approach. Yeah, no, before you get started committing all sorts of professional misdeeds, you've got to ask the right questions. You've got to know what direction your professional development is headed and where it is you want to take it. I mean, there comes a point where I guess if you're younger, this ought to make more sense. I mean, if you're older, I do get that you've built up a certain image, a certain presence. Maybe you've gotten tied down with bills, with a family. You've got mouths to feed, and so you can't move as reckless as you used to. But if you're young and you're not standing up for yourself, that's a mistake. And more than likely, I'd chalk it up to public education not teaching you something worthwhile. It's just teaching you to take orders and obey commands. But that's public education. It's a public disservice. It's an equal opportunity public disservice. Probably one of the only institutions that are equal outcome at this point. More and more becoming equal outcome. And not for the better. Not at all. No. It's uniform across the board. Uniform shit across the board. But there are people outside the education system who know how to negotiate for themselves. Right? And that comes with experience. That comes with exposure. I mean, you could go through, 16, 17 years, 20 years of education and still come out the other end just a processed organism, a processed drone taking orders. Why? Because it's what you believe you've been. It's what you've been programmed to believe. I'm letting this episode get away from me. Frankly, I'm just filling time. I'm wanting not to read the comments because more than likely I'm right. But I'll go ahead and do so. The first comment here says, they're quotes. They're quotes from the actual body. And they say, when I get the offer. So it's a quote, when I get the offer, my boss let me know, or when I got the offer, my boss let me know he's open to changing my responsibilities, end quote. Another quote, I personally don't know if I can trust my boss, end quote. And they continue, says, no, you cannot. The other place may be just as bad, but you know your current place is bad. I would definitely leave. Yeah, I mean, this is what the highest voted. Yeah, this is the highest voted, and I wasn't wrong to say it first. What the fuck are you doing there? You're going to wait a year at a place that you know doesn't respect you? That you know doesn't respect you as a professional? Given what you interviewed for, given what was discussed in your interview, they're going to put you to do something completely different. Not even 11% of what you interviewed for. I mean, are they paying you more than in your interview? Are they paying you 10% more than what they interviewed you in? Than what they interviewed you for? Given that they're going to change the obligations on you? If that's the case, they probably could have. And you just didn't negotiate it. Or you didn't renegotiate. Yeah, no, I would leave. Obviously, continue applying. Take an interview with your buddy's firm, your buddy's company. And do it moving. Fucking get out. The next comment here says, I was in a situation similar to you. I trusted my supervisor and / didn't have a very compelling alternative. And the promise that my responsibilities would change turned out to be hollow. My job actually got worse. As other teams realized my job description was flexible and my supervisor was too unfocused to refuse their demands for me to do work for them. they had this person like a fucking prostitute, like a hooker, just going from department to department, doing all the dirty work. So if they hired him on for, some technical service, they were the ones who pulled them aside and had to clean everybody's toilets. Yo, I don't know what's worse. The bait and switch or not standing up for yourself. And again, that should start at a young age. But the caveat there is having the moral compass sufficient to be able to do that. Not just a loudmouth and obnoxious. You have to stand for professionalism. Not just, quote, inclusivity. Yeah. I don't know. People got their priorities misplaced. And this quote continues. This comment continues. It says, in workplaces where responsibilities are clear and fairly apportioned, it's exceptionally easy to assign work in a fair, reasonable, and transparent way. Easy to spot deviations, easy to repair them, easy to respond to employee feedback. If things go wrong along these lines, it's because the company doesn't feel accountable to its staff. Leave, unless there are red flags at the new opportunity. Yeah. Even more questions to consider. That's why I said check in with your buddy. Find out exactly what their department does. Before you jump ship, still be applying to other spots, taking interviews, and consider whether or not, given what you know at your current job and given what you know about your buddy's company, whether or not you can negotiate something for yourself and get that shit in writing. But you want to identify those obligations, those responsibilities at your buddy's firm and find out if if they're just piled on to someone else, piled onto one person, piled onto the newbie, because if you get hired on as the new person, you will effectively be the newbie and you'll be assigned this grunt work. Unless see, there's another angle. Unless at your place right now, at your company that you're in right now, you've been there not even 6 months, not even a year. And it could just be the fact that you are a newbie and you're learning the hardest part of the job. But what it sounds like, again, we don't have all of the details. It's a particular part of the job that you dislike, and you specifically avoided applying to jobs with those responsibilities. So it's apparent that you know how to do it. You may or may not be good at it, and you're looking to broaden your skill set, if not completely avoid that part of the job. Okay, I respect that. but the fact that you negotiated into an employment agreement and then they reneged on it, and you yourself didn't renege on it. You just followed through, like, okay, I guess I'm gonna do what they say. You know, you're not tied to them at the hip. They'll replace you easily. It's not like you guys share a fucking liver, right? You are entry level forever. Everybody in that bitch. We all are. Entry level forever. Don't fucking forget it. That being said, I would just leave. I would leave. I've been in a similar situation before. And if things change up, then you start a conversation, a discussion of how those responsibilities could maybe inform a promotion, some type of additional training, a pay raise of some kind. Typically more so if those responsibilities become managerial, right? I mean, if it's just one part of your job, like say you're working at a fast food restaurant, right? And you're entry level. It's an hourly job. You're making minimum wage, if only $1 more or something like that. And they train you, or you know how to do most everything in the place. Flip burgers, or work the grill, work the cash register, work fries, and work food prep in the back, and work the dish area, right? But they only have you do fries. Only the fries. Only the fries. Only fries. Right? And it's something you hate. And you were interviewed for doing everything else. Everything else. Right? Now, if your employment agreement says that they can put you to work fries, within reason, if they have nobody else, or if you're new, or if they need somebody who they just hired to work fries for 6 months minimum, or they do rotating shifts for 6 months minimum, right? We don't know any of that information because they didn't provide it for us. They didn't tell us exactly what the dynamics of the team are, whether or not they rotate tasks and responsibilities, because they want you adept at this one key area before they move you on to something else. We don't know that. Again, just more questions to consider. I'm giving you a potential blueprint into your professional development of questions that you could ask, approaches that you could take, and strategies you could potentially implement. With the disclaimer that I don't owe you shit. This is not legal advice. Don't rely on it. If you do want to help us, though, if you believe you have some disposable income, we'll take $1. We'll take $1 million. There's some cash links floating around somewhere. There's a Venmo, a Cash App, and a PayPal. If not, you can send us, valuables, bullion, joking, or not, contraband, to the P.O. box. It's checked intermittently, so we'll be sure to get it. Have yourselves a good night. I'm going to call it right here. Or should I wait it out? We got 10 seconds until 30 minutes. Have a good one.